Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing things a little differently. So I've moved, that's why you haven't seen me in a while. My family's growing. We went from one kid, we've got another on the way. It's due in July. We've got the whole thing on my wife's channel. I'll link her channel down below. But right now, I'm on my little electric skateboard. I'm on my way to the hardware store. I've got a few parts to pick up. I've got a desk that I'm working on. Yes, the first piece of furniture that I'm building for my brand new home is going to be an amazing little desk. Super simple. I've got some, I think, 6/4 mahogany, some huge pieces that I want to go ahead and repurpose. That's what I'm going to use for my tops. For my legs, I've got some steel tubing that I've got left over from a friend's project. I'll link that project down below. But let me go ahead and get my supplies. We're going to get started on that top, and hopefully we make a nice desk out of this thing. For those of you that are new to my channel, welcome. For those of you that have stuck with me, thank you. Hit that big red subscribe button if you can, and let's get into this thing. Like I said, we're going to start this project with our tabletop. Here I'm laying out my marks for my biscuits. I'm going to be using number 20 biscuits and my biscuit jointer. Finally get to use this thing in the shop. I'm super excited. I'm not necessarily doing this to add any strength to the top. I'm just doing it so it helps level my boards and keep them from sliding when I go ahead and clamp them together. So now that we've got our joints good and tight with the biscuit joiner, grab that glue, spread it evenly. I like to glue both of my joints. I'd rather have too much glue than not enough and have a project fall apart on me. And make sure when you're clamping your projects to put clamps on the bottom and the top. It keeps them from bowing. Now all you got to do is sit back, drink some coffee, wait for that glue to dry. Glue's dry. Let's get these clamps off. As soon as I get all these clamps off and these boards propped up on my fence, I'm going to go ahead, bring out my metal cutting saw, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the rails and stiles for my table base. So here, I've got one of the legs set up. While I was over at the hardware store, I discovered these little right angles. They're called Simpson ties. They're used in general construction, and I figured they'd make great 90-degree angles. Brought a couple of them home. A few of them were not a perfect 90 degrees, so I stuck them in my vise. I bent them the right way with a pair of pliers. They're perfectly plumb. I'm happy with them. They're 90 degrees. I use them with a couple clamps to hold my two stiles to my two rails. Now I'm going to go ahead, get my welder set up, and we'll be able to tack all of this into place. Now I'm going to get started on these tops. I've got my scraper here. I'm just scraping off all the excess glue. And then I'm going to grab my belt sander with 80 grit, and then I'm going to also hit it with a 120 grit to get ready for final sanding. Once that is done, I'm going to throw this on my table saw. I'm going to get the size of my pieces here. After I get both of my large tops sized, I'm going to go ahead square up the two ends, and once I've got the two ends squared, we'll be able to cut the 45 on each of those two pieces and make our L. .45s are cut. It's time to bust out that Craig jig, make a couple pocket holes, throw some glue on this bad boy, and drive these screws home. So now that we've got the top sorted, it's time to get the base put together. Here I've got the final few pieces that I'm cutting for the base. Then I'm going to go ahead, tack everything in place, and then I'll weld everything out. Alright, so here, this is what I'm going to be using for my printer. I've got a good 24 inches, two pieces cut, 12 and a half to match my rails on the table. This is going to attach it to the upper rail that's going to support the top. Let's go ahead and get this tacked up. So now I'm just using those self-tapping screws and screwing in that angle iron. This angle iron is going to hold what I'm calling the printer shelf.